All right, welcome back to Catz Battle, the best #1 of 2015. Now, before we move on to the next match, Firebat versus Gnimsh, I'd invite you to go on the Facebook page of Catz, facebook.com/madcast.german. Just commentate, say who you think is going to win the tournament, and you'll have a chance to get some really sick hardware from them. Just a chance at a giveaway. So, Firebat was asleep, so we had to cast the game between Reynad and Thijs there. We saw some unusual blinktroning going on, and I think I might just take that list. Yeah.
There is definitely some usual blinktroning sometimes, but this
Yeah.
was the unusual one.
Yeah, it's the kind of Blinktron you don't expect. I mean, in the tournament play, when do you expect Blinktron in tournaments? And Reynad is bringing a Mech Mage, the one deck where that card is a perfect fit, and I think that was a really good call on his part. It surprised Thijs 100%, and it's also, the only drawback to it, I think, is that it gives Harrison Jones value in a matchup where it usually has none.
Yeah, well, in a way, since your opponent doesn't expect to have any value out of Jones, it's not a card they keep. It's not a card. I mean, they wouldn't run their Harrison Jones deck, so I think it might be more of an upside than a downside, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they might play it into Mirror Entity just to prevent the value that you're going to get off of Mirror Entity, and then all you have to do is play Blinktron and say, well, I'm sorry, your Harrison Jones is suddenly useless. So there's kind of a little bit of a play there where you can make them look like they wasted their card. So moving on to Firebat and Gnimsh, though. We haven't seen Gnimsh play yet. We know that he beat an opponent yesterday.
No, we've seen him. He made an amazing play with Force of Nature YOLO.
Oh yeah, the YOLO play, but I mean I haven't seen him play today in the round yet because we've been waiting for Firebed to wake up. And I think Catz ended up going to wake him up in the team house. I don't know how Firebad's still asleep at this time. I mean, where does he live now? Like, what time is it where he is?
Texas, right? So this would be either 2:30 or 1:30. Not quite sure what time zone it is.
PM, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds normal. No problem. Gamer schedules. So yeah. I guess I hope he's gonna be awake enough to play that match against the match against Gnimsh. And interestingly enough, moving on to the next round, Alish won against Ecop earlier. So if Firebat or Gnimsh moves on, either way, Alish is going to face them in the round 2 of this tournament, of the finals, and that's going to allow him to, if he beats them, get a really good name for himself. So going into this, knowing that we know the decks that these two players are bringing, which of them do you think is slightly favored?
Well, first of all, Firebat banned Gnimsh's Druid. So we won't see a Druid out of Gnimsh, and Gnimsh has banned Firebat Rogue. So very interesting bans here. Both mages are up, so we're gonna see some mage going. And
Mech Mage for both players?
Yeah, Mech Mage for both. Gnimsh's Warlock is Zoo.
Yep.
And Firebat's Warlock, I don't think we've seen it.
He hasn't had to play it yet? That's right, actually. I don't really know that he's going to play that. Either way, we're going to be going to the interviews for both players, Firebat and Gnimsh. I hope you enjoyed their amazing answers to existential questions.
Hey guys, I'm Marcin Gnimsh Filipovic, and I'm the captain of Cloud9. I'm playing Hearthstone for a living right now. I think the Undertaker nerf was actually very good because the card is so powerful you can still use it in aggro decks. But then it's being, it's like a secret buff to Leper Gnome, It's like Leper Gnome now can kill the Undertaker. So it was less like a nerf for Undertaker. It was like a buff to Leper Gnome, which really deserved it. I will certainly be a huffer. I just love charging, and well, not in real life, but like in card games, I'm always the one who's attacking. So I will be like the one, just come here and just attack and deal for damage. That's a very good question. I think I would go back in time to buy the first copy of Vanilla WoW because I would love to be one of the people who actually subscribe to WoW, being like the first of them, like subscribed from the day one to till now, and right now they're even getting some prizes if you were subscribed for all those years to World of Warcraft. So I would love to be at the release of the original Vanilla WoW. That's a very interesting question. I think Logan, from Greece, he has the mass. I think like if I would have Logan on my side, we could like wreck anyone.
Hello, I'm Firebat from Team Archon. I think that the Undertaker nerf is really good for the game. I thought the Undertaker wasn't fun. Snowball effect made a lot of games completely unwinnable. And I'm really glad it's gone, and I hopefully can open up some more fun decks to be able to be played. Huffer. Definitely Huffer. There's like no other answer to that one. You gotta hit him in the face. Any event, probably Hearthstone related. I would like to go back in time and see Artosis try and execute his own Sylvanas. I think that would be a hilarious event to witness, like live. In a bar fight, I'd have to choose Hosty. He's a friend of mine. I lived with him. He's a giant.
Alright, so good morning apparently to everyone and to Firebed. Welcome back to the Mad Catz Battle of the Best, first tournament of 2015. We're back after those short interviews with Firebed and Gnimsh, and we should go into the games pretty shortly here. What do you think both players are going to open with Noxious?
I get a feeling, I mean, Druid being out of the way for Gnimsh, and the fact that he revealed that his Warlock was Zoo yesterday is going to give... I think Zoo right now is not exactly one of the prime decks I'd bring to a tournament. I get the feeling it's one of the weaker decks out there at the moment. So I'm not sure I'd open with that as Gnimsh.
Yeah, I'm not exactly certain for which matchup he's actually bringing it, but I guess he's running Implosions, which can be pretty good in tempo matchups, like against the Mech Mage. Not quite sure how it's doing against the Warlock and the Druid. I think Zoo can be pretty good.
Yeah, I guess the addition of Dark Bomb to the Zoo's arsenal makes it like kind of a coin flip against Mech Mage, because they have, you know, Blast Mage where you have Implosion, so it kind of evens out in a small way. You both have damage on 4, and they can both compound your board advantage. So I guess as Mech Mage, it's kind of a coin flip, but against something like a Paladin deck, with all the shielded mini-bots and the musters for battle, I can't help but feel that your matchup is just even weaker against the broader range of the metagame.
But Firebat isn't running Pally, so I don't know if... I mean, I guess that... Not sure. Against Druid, it really depends if the Druid gets early Innervates, can get value out of these.
Innervate for the Grove being the best, obviously, so we're going to see which deck was picked by both players at the start. I really think opening with Zoo would be a mistake. So Gnimsh opens up with Paladin against Firebat's Druid.
So Firebat's still holding true to keeping his Druid. I was thinking he could open Warlock because we have no idea what his Warlock is.
I think Firebat's way too comfortable with Druid. He knows that this is a deck that can just sweep completely, regardless of the matchup. It's a deck that can just get sweeps out of nowhere.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think if he can manage to not show his Warlock this match and even in next match, as long as he can keep his Warlock hidden, he gets more and more value out of it because he can surprise his opponent in the semi or in the finals.
That's right, we haven't seen it yet, so the moment he actually pulls it out, there is going to be a massive surprise from players. Firebat here playing the Loot Hoarder as opposed to playing the Harvest Golem, so he's either counting on his opponent not having muster or for the knife to hit.
This coin flip hurts Gnimsh a lot, and I mean, wow.
He does have a decent follow-up, but it's nothing he's gonna be happy about. And I mean, Firebat's hand, I mean, it's not looking stellar, but between Wrath Hero Power for next turn and the follow-up Loatheb and Ancients of Lore on the coin, into Dr. Boom. That is some really amazing transition to the late game. All he needs to get is his combos at this point.
Yeah, I just can't believe how last turn's coin flip, basically that was taken by Firebat, and that Gnimsh kind of had to take for himself as well. This is going to have a huge impact on the game. Just imagine if the juggler would still be alive.
Yeah, this would be a much different outcome. I mean, there was trading with that juggler here. That's why I thought Firebat might coin out the loot hoarder to, play into juggler, and then coin out hero power, the 1/1 recruit that comes out if that were the case. So apparently he's going to use his harvest golem to trade with that 3/2. I don't think. I mean, you're giving the Acolyte of Pain even more value than it has.
Yeah.
Because it's going to kill the remaining token.
Well, you could coin hero power and then play Lothab and hope that you draw turn 6. And I mean, with double Force of Nature in hand, you could totally use your turn 6. Just your Force of Nature to clear minions. Just use it as removal, just to keep your board going.
Yeah, I don't know.
One combo for lethal.
So what is killing this? Okay, there we go. He had to coin hero power here to justify making that play. He couldn't do one without the other because not leaving the Acolyte alive lets it kill that 2/1.
Yeah.
Which is just not an option at this point.
Yeah. I like this line of play from Firebat.
Oh, Gnimsh getting a really nice turn 5 here. Oh god, it got even better.
Oh, if he can draw a Quartermaster next turn, that would be so great. And even if he can't, Firebat, I don't know.
No, I really like Gnimsh's position here. He's got the shielded mini boss. He's got the zombie chow in case he needs more control on smaller minions. He's not too afraid of healing up that druid. He mostly needs to be able to contest the board from Druids of the Claw to anything else. He just needs to be able to do that. And that zone, I don't know. I feel like Gnimsh's hand is really strong. On combo, he's got Lothab.
Yeah.
He's got a full clear right now.
This is kind of unfortunate for Gnimsh because his board would be very strong with a Quartermaster, and he didn't have it. But if Firebat had a decent answer to the 1/1s, like a swipe, which was bad but was decent, he could have played it. But now he didn't have a remotely good answer, so was forced to play Lothab and hope that Gnimsh didn't have the Quartermaster.
Yeah. Firebat is playing very reactively. This Druid of the Claw with Zombie Chow, though, is curving out pretty well. He probably plays enough 5-drops that this shouldn't be like a rare occurrence. But the ability to play here and curve out perfectly into Ancient of Lore or Dr. Boom is going to be pretty much perfect in this case. I mean, I thought he was going to have a really awkward turn 6 with Zombie Chow, Hero Power, or Force of Nature for the board wipe to avoid Quartermaster snowballs.
It's still quite awkward because just the True Silver and the Minibot kill the 4/6, and then Firebat is stuck with only a Zombie Chow on the board. Runs double combo, but his opponent's at 30 HP and is going to gain another 5 when he chooses to kill the Zombie Chow. So Firebat has, I mean, 2 out of his 4 cards are combo pieces, but they're completely useless without the potential of lethal they could bring.
Yeah, and looking at Gnimsh's hand, he's got many ways to approach this. Just the Consecration alone with the 1/1s is going to clear this board very easily. And that lets him just put down another 1/1 recruit, which until Firebat finds a swipe, is going to be really problematic. He drops a Sludge Belcher instead, which is just honestly as good, if not better.
Yeah, this is excellent. I mean, Firebat would need to draw a swipe here. That would be excellent. And
that's pretty much all he can do.
Do you boom? It's turn 7.
You boom. It's 7 mana. You boom. There's no question about that. The problem is, you're gonna have to curve into Ancient of Lore afterwards and hope that your swipe comes up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the extent of what you have. You're hoping for.
The bombs really help against the 1/1s because they're gonna chain through the bombs. The bombs might also kill them, which is definitely not the best, but still it helps clear, and that compensates for Druid's lack of board clear.
Honestly, at the moment, I feel like the boombots could hit anything and be fine. They hit the 1/1s, you remove Quartermaster value. You hit the Sludge Belcher, it gives you an easier time of clearing it with your minions. If it hits the face, it's giving you that double Force of Nature value a little earlier than you otherwise would expect it. So it's really not that bad. Obviously, controlling the board is primordial, but whatever happens here, you're still going to be in an okay spot.
So how do you manage this as Gnimsh? Do you use your Aldor now on the 7/7? And then maybe follow it up with a... You could Cog Hammer? Or do you just take this weak turn from Firebat to lay on hands and fill up your hand, get equality combos to clear Firebat's board if he overextends?
I am shocked, but this is really aggressive from Gnimsh, and the Lotheb is forcing Firebat not to get a swipe nor a Savage Roar. I mean, he could have Savage Roar, but this is not even good.
This swipe is one turn late.
It's okay. You just play Ancient of Lore and you wait for Jewel of the Claw swipe on the following turn. That's really just it's a simple turn. It's a pretty simple turn.
I mean, it's simple, but it's not great.
No, but at least you've got a really nice follow-up. You know, on turn 9 you're curving with Druid and swipe. And Ancient of Lore gives you card draw, so that combo reach is getting, you know, closer and closer. Yeah, I feel like it kind of sucks, but at the same time it's somewhat acceptable. Your Doctor Boom is already gone, value-wise. You force the Aldor, and he's still on the board as a body that the opponent has to trade into, because Savage Roar otherwise gets magnified by it.
Yeah, I agree. And so now Gnimsh, if Gnimsh could
no,
manage to...
8, 9, 10, 16, he's one off of lethal.
So...
He's one off.
If Gnimsh manages to get the Divine Shield off on Lotheb...
He doesn't need to, he just goes face. Like, I don't know, it's...
Okay.
He's one off lethal. I mean, how is Firebat gonna heal? He's played one Ancient of Lore. You've got Consecration. Like, you're good to go. Like, you can just kill him off of Consec. There's no lethal even with Force of Nature Savage Roar. He can't even intervade the second one, so there's literally no way for Firebat, outside of an Ancient of Lore heal, to live through this turn.
I'm trying to think if the double combo... he's at 9, so he need...
He can't do it, it's impossible. Like, double Innervate, double Roar, Force of Nature, that doesn't seem very likely. So Gnimsh is going to be taking this game against Firebat's Druid, so the opening hand here, I guess... Then again, I guess you could swipe and Druid of the Claw and live one turn, because you are on 3 health, right? So he's pretty close to lethal, not quite on it. If Gnimsh can't go through this, which I doubt, then Firebat's probably going to be able to... he's just going to die here. I can't really see how Gnimsh is supposed to lose this.
Gnimsh is 1 man off of an excellent turn by consecrating, playing, attacking with True Silver, then playing the Pilot Sky Golem, and...
No, it's fine.
The Pilot Shredder, and then playing the Cog Hammer.
You don't have to Cog Hammer just now. I mean, you can't attack with it anyway, so it's irrelevant. I think you can just... Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. He probably doesn't feel too bad about it. It's just a matter of going to... You know, you keep going for the face. I almost feel like maybe lay on Hansing for that Iron Beak Cowl might have been the way to go. But that Shredder is going to stick around for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, right. Anyways, yeah. The Divine Shield didn't matter with this 1-1 on board anyways, so...
Alright, well, let's see what Firebat can muster here. I Keeper of the Grove, your own boom, and trade into the 4-3? Or just Keeper of the Grove it, whatever?
And Force of Nature?
This is nasty, but I guess yes. You're dead after to so many things. Yeah. But you still have to do it, so...
Whatever you do, you're dead to so many things. Gnimsh is looking at Cog Hammer.
I mean, what if you just Force of Nature and see what comes out of the Shredder? Could you do that and armor up? Because armoring up, what it allows you to do, in essence, is you're going to be outranging some of the... You know, Muster for Battle would not kill you, Knife Juggler wouldn't kill you. Alright, he's going to go for the more risky play that, anyway, you know, in this specific case doesn't make a difference. But in other cases might have made one.
Yeah.
It's the right play nonetheless. Alright, so Gnimsh is going to take that game from Firebat. 1 off lethal initially, and then manages to get the win at the very end, seals it. Firebat goes down. His best deck, I would venture to say, is or at least the deck he's probably one of the. He's very comfortable with that deck. That's out of the way for him, and now he's got to resort to either his Warlock or his
Mage.
His Mage. He's lost his Rogue, so he's got Mage and Warlock left. We have no idea what's in the Warlock deck. Mech Mage is a matchup which is a pretty. I guess it's a toss-up against Paladin, because if they get the shielded mini boss, then you're in a really tight spot.
Yeah, I'd say I think it's unfavored, especially since Gnimsh playing the Coghammer.
Mm-hmm.
If it's still winnable though. We've seen Reynad win against Thais.
Unfortunate draw though for
the
Thais,
previous
but yes.
match. So yeah, so it's winnable if the Pally doesn't get the right draws, and I don't think that as Firebat you want to go with Mage and enter the game hoping that your opponent gets bad draws.
Yeah, I feel like maybe. Then again, we don't know what his Warlock is. If it's if it's weak to Paladin, if it's weak to Equality Consecrations, like a lot of Warlocks are, mid-range Warlock could be good. Mid-range lock is possible, but going for something. Heavy Zoo has a problem now with Paladin a lot of the time, unless you're teching specifically for Pally, maybe, like Blood Knights. So that's a possibility. I think that's what he was running, I believe, is like the Argent Squires.
We've actually seen it because we thought it was a Hobgoblin deck. So yes, we did see Firebat's Warlock. It's Argent Squire Blood Knight deck.
Yeah, it will actually deal with Mech Mage, and it will actually deal with because it takes an Oyotrons, and it will also deal with shielded mini bots here, making with 6/6 on the curve. So that could be very strong for him.
Yeah, Firebat still chose to go with the Mage, and seems like he's gonna curve out pretty decently here.
Paladin as well, though. Okay, no, Firebat curves better. Never mind.
Yeah.
You know what I love about the recent GVG meta is that Aldor Peacekeeper is getting played all the time for tempo.
Hello.
This is something that didn't happen very often before. A lot of people played it as removal with Kodo and whatnot, but a lot of the time now you see just Aldor Peacekeeper falling down for the sake of getting tempo. It just does nothing else.
Yeah, I like it because, I mean, the Aldor is still a vanilla minion on 3/3, so it's not... Its effect can be extremely strong, even against low-tier minions. But, I mean, I guess probably the reason why we didn't see it a lot before was because we didn't see Pally a lot, period.
So yeah, but we saw Control Paladin quite a bit. In tournaments, Paladin was still seen in Control variants, let's say against Warrior, but it wasn't like the most rampant thing, and now it's all over the place.
Yeah, but exactly, but if you're going in a Control matchup, you don't really want to use Aldor just for tempo purposes if you have other plays available.
Yeah, most definitely not.
Now that Pally is actually decent against tempo decks, you can definitely use it to break the tempo of your opponent.
So looking at this board now, if you're Gnimsh, do you know your juggler is gonna die probably, at least to the Cogmaster, right? So that's the thing. So dropping it down here, are you thinking about the Mirror Entity follow-up? Like, what are you gonna give to your opponent? Because you have to assume that eventually that'll fall down. Paladin Shredder can't really be played right now into Mirror Entity, so I guess Gnimsh has to develop it as soon as possible, because you can't hold it in your hand, because it's basically the biggest value you can give a Mech Mage.
Yeah, this is going to be when the Scientist comes out and gets skills, it's going to be awkward. It's always awkward unless you have a Keys and Mystic, but we haven't seen any in this tournament, so I don't think it's going to happen. And I guess Firebat's gonna...
Wow, this is an amazing turn for Firebat.
I mean, do you Scientist and Ping? Because even if the Shredder chooses to get value... Well, if Gnimsh chooses to get value with his Shredder, trades in the Scientist, you get the Secret, so you still get insane tempo.
I guess you could play Mad Scientist Ping, or Mad Scientist... yeah, Mad Scientist Ping is better than Mad Scientist Frostbolt. Unless you attack the 2-1 with your Shredder, then Frostbolt, then Mad Scientist, but that's getting really, really weird.
Well, if you attack into the 2-1 with your Shredder, you can still play 2 minions, and then you're fine.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you'd have to want to do at this point, because Consecration won't kill anything outside of the Scientist, and you're perfectly fine with that, since that's something you want to see die as soon as possible. So it's really about playing a minion and the Ping, I feel. You're still getting maximum value out of that hero power, nonetheless. And like if he attacks that 2-3 with his Shredder, he's you know shut down for a turn. You have all the time in the world to deal with it.
Not entirely sure why he chose to go with the
Choose over champion.
the Chugger
probably.
over the Scientist.
Choose over champion. You want to freeze the opponent. That's my guess.
That makes sense.
Frostbolt ping or Spider Tank Frostbolt. You could trade your 2-1 into that 1-1 though. You see, now that I think of it, I feel like if you're wary of Quartermaster, a 3-3 here might not seem like much, but it does deal with maybe 2 minions on your board.
Yeah, it's a huge tempo swing for Gnimsh.
And yeah, I feel like that's
has
the
a
case.
really hard time getting the board back once it's lost it. So Firebat is on a tightrope here. He really has to keep the board in the following turns because if he loses it, he won't be able to get back in the game, and then he'd be down 2-0 in this match, which would be extremely hard to come back from.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. You have to kill the Shredder in some way. If Consecration drops at any time, though, you're now in deep trouble. Lucky for him, Gnimsh has no Consecration inside, so he's going to have to make it do with the Aldor Peacekeeper plays. He can't even get a really good Quartermaster yet. Next turn is a pretty decent turn for that. Hero Power Quartermaster. It's just a 3-3, but it's big enough to annoy a Mecha Mage who doesn't have Flame Strikes and Blizzards.
Yeah, exactly, and this was a pretty big gamble from Firebat, hoping that Gnimsh didn't have Consecration. Gnimsh didn't have it, but I feel like this Aldor is actually even better because it puts minions on the board.
Ooh, ouch.
Okay,
you know what? I like Firebat's decision to keep Snowchugger until he could get the Blast Mage. Because I've been wondering, you know, why play Snowchugger? Why keep Snowchugger? And the answer is obviously because I need my Blast Mage to hit someday. And this is the perfect time to do so.
Okay,
now nothing Gnimsh plays is going to be good
excellent.
for him.
Get the secret. I guess he's going to kill the 1-1 because he doesn't want Quartermaster to actually get value because it's both a bad mirror entity target and gives a 3-3, but
then again, what is he going to kill with it? Right, he's going to kill your 2-3 and then freezes his 3-3. But then again, I mean, all Firebat has at that point is a 2-5, a 5-4, a Frostbolt, and a Shredder. I guess that's still not that bad, right? Because you can still play... I mean, that Shredder and that 5-4 are going to get you a lot of damage potential. I really like the idea of a... Oh, wait. Are you afraid of Fireballs so much so that you're going to Equality? Equality, I mean, Quartermaster, trade the 2-3 into the 5-4?
You have 2 equalities. No, you Hero Power Hero Power Quartermaster, then you get 2 3-3s. You can kill a 2-1, you can kill a 2-3. There's only a 5-4 and a 2-5 on the board. So
yeah, but you have no healing, so you have to get... Well, you've got Tyrion, so I guess double Fireball is the only threatening thing.
You have Tyrion, and next turn you're in a pretty good spot to clear the board. If Firebat doesn't ping your Berserker, it clears anything. So Firebat's effectively on 5 mana next turn.
Alright, so the 2-5 goes to Firebat here, who's going to be able to get a little bit of value out of it. But see, this equality, I feel, is pretty good. This is exactly the play that I expected. I feel like he needs to kill that 5-4. The amount of damage it deals is pretty high. Although now, Firebat is curving perfectly. And there is no end to the threat. True Server Champion is dead. I can't assume a Consecration is there.
Well, there's Tyrion and then now a Belcher the following turn, so there is hope for Gnimsh. Because 13 HP isn't too bad. You shouldn't get bursted unless Firebat finds Antonidas.
Yeah, Antonidas is the only thing that could really put you in a terrible spot.
Yeah. And he's going to have 1 spare part and currently has a Frostbolt. Gnimsh doesn't know it's a Frostbolt. But if he can force Firebat to use this Frostbolt on a minion, then that would mean 1 less Fireball.
Honestly, I don't even know what this Tyrion is doing here. It does nothing. It feels kind of like... I mean, you're throwing it in the way, but I don't think... Yeah, it clears 2 minions.
Yeah. That's the start.
Not even 2. If he Frostbolts it and then use the 4-3, he's left with 3. You still haven't found Consec? I mean, it is a decent minion. I just don't think it's...
Would you have rather played the Belcher?
7 effective health tanked? You're gonna get it out anyway, so that's not really a problem. Oh, the worst outcome here for Firebat.
This is super bad for Firebat.
This is the worst thing he could have gotten here. And he's not even gonna wait for Archmage for that spare part. He's just gonna go all in Frostbolt face and wait for Gnimsh to get nothing. Fireball is a top deck that wins.
Yeah.
And Gnimsh is gonna at least have his Belcher here. Firebat can clear the board, but that's about it.
Gnimsh has the board. If Firebat doesn't top deck Fireball before Gnimsh gets his heal bot or his lay on hands, this is Gnimsh's game.
Yeah, I feel like
it's a race of who can draw the decisive card first.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, Firebat is gonna be waiting. Right now, he's not really afraid of not top decking. If Gnimsh had healing, he would have used it. I guess now Choose Our Champion also puts Gnimsh out of range of lethal though. So there are about 3 to 4 outs in the deck at the moment. He's going to be able to ping face in this case. Do you Whirling Blades your parrot to ping face, or do you just wait for Antonidas this time around and sacrifice your parrot with a ping?
You have to sacrifice the parrot anyways, so like this 1 damage won't matter.
Doesn't do anything, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, pinging phase doesn't accomplish anything.
The only thing... No, not even. Even if Gnimsh gets True Silver, then you don't have lethal anyways, even if you ping this turn and next turn, so...
Yeah. No, it doesn't. You would still have lethal regardless with Fireball if he doesn't get it, and if he gets it, then you're not any closer.
So, I guess here Gnimsh plays both his minions, kills the 2-2, and tries to never... give him a good unit later. Like, if he gets healing, then he plays a heal. But I don't feel like he can afford to give any minion this turn to Firebat.
That belongs in a museum. To arms, men.
Okay, and so does Gnimsh.
Alright, so Gnimsh just going to save up. Obviously, doesn't want to take damage. Oh goodness, that is a good card for Firebat, giving him an out here. An excellent card. It's contesting the board just enough that Firebat will be able to threaten. Oh, Firebat not pinging that 4-1 first. Good. Okay, if it had been a Doomsayer, it would have been kind of funny.
This is a draw.
Yeah, and I mean that mirror entity is gonna get 0 value unless Firebat teched counterspells and we're suddenly living in some alternate universe.
But then, you don't know what this bar part is.
Gnimsh doesn't know what it is, but it doesn't really matter because regardless, it's gonna get value off of Antonidas. Even if it's Time Rewinder, he's still gonna use an Archmage. So it's ultimately not really a matter of knowing the spare part is. It doesn't do anything. Like you have to kill those minions, and you'll be able to do it with what you've got. Anytime Firebat gets a Fireball, you still lose. So you're 2 turns away from winning. You have like Firebat has 2 top decks to get Fireball, and Gnimsh has.
With,
he has to trade.
Oh, his 1/1's gonna get pinged. So
No, he's got to trade here. He'll be 2 off, in fact.
Well, I guess you can leave the mech alive because
you're dead to Frostbolts though, and the Whirling Blades.
Well, he doesn't know that the spare part's Whirling Blade. That's the thing. If you
so
don't know
you feel like just going for the 1-turn clock is just that much safer?
Well,
I don't feel like it is. Okay.
Well, since he drew Antonidas, that's gonna make a big difference because now he needs healing or lethal.
Yeah, he's 1 off of lethal, and he hasn't found it. That is good game here. Firebat's gonna take it. He had 3 outs left in his deck, right? He had 2 Fireballs and 1 Archmage here to give him the win. He top decked for about 4 turns straight. And Gnimsh not finding anti-heal bot, lay on hands. Nothing was found for healing, not even a Choose Our Champion. So I feel like Gnimsh deserved to get a healing source because that would have actually put him way out of range. He had like many more outs than Firebat, I think by 2. So that gives him a little bit better of a chance against Mech Mage, but now Firebat's gonna take it.
But then if he didn't if he didn't kill the Mano Wraith last turn, the Mech Warper, he would have had lethal this turn. That made a pretty big difference. Because, like, there's only Frostbolt that would have been lethal, and only because Firebat had a Whirling Blade.
Yep.
Otherwise
I
killing.
Ultimately, yeah, killing the Mech Warper was what prevented Gnimsh from winning, but letting that Mech Warper live when Blast Mage could come around and trade into your stuff could have been a bit of a problem, I guess. Like, there's Blast Mage that's a problem, Fireball is lethal, leaving the Mech alive, I guess one Tinkertown could come out, get a decent spare part, but that wouldn't have really changed much, besides maybe swapping the health and attack of one of your minions and putting you off lethal. So I guess ultimately killing that Mech Warper was a mistake Gnimsh made. I'd have to look at all the cards being played in both players' decks.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest,
we'd have to calculate: is it better to die to more cards in one turn, or to die to less cards but leave our opponent 2 turns to go?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like because of the amount of odds that Gnimsh had to heal himself, he was theoretically pretty okay. That's the awkward part, is based on what I think is in his deck, I don't know that he would have died there. So Mech Mage from Firebat gonna steal another win from Gnimsh, which puts him 2 up against Gnimsh here. Gnimsh has to go for his Zoo deck.
Gnimsh lost with Mage?
His Mage got banned, I believe, no?
No, his Druid was banned.
He's gonna have to go for Zoo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was game 2. It's 1-1. Firebat lost with in Pally versus Druid.
Yeah, he lost the first game.
Yeah, and now Firebat won in Mage versus Pally, so it's 1-1 currently. Gnimsh had a choice between Mech Mage and Zoo.
I don't know. Do you think Mech Mage versus Mech Mage is better than Zoo versus Mech Mage?
That's what type of Zoo you're running.
Okay. I just feel like Nerubian Eggs protect you against some of the board wipes. They eventually have to give you value off of your minions. You're almost more sticky than mechs. Like, mechs don't have death rattle. Zoo tends to have at least a little bit of it. Like, when I say he has to go Zoo, I thought that was just the logical deck to play, but there's a very... Alright, so apparently Gnimsh opts for Mech Mage. I'm a little surprised, but he might feel confident in it.
I mean, slight differences in deck building can make a pretty big difference, and maybe Gnimsh just feels comfortable in the mirror. I mean, yeah, when I play ladder with Mech Mage, I feel very comfortable in the mirror, so in tournament I would go for it.
And, I get it, so it's really just a 50-50 either way. It's just that the lists are so similar in general that it's just a coin flip. And you know what, if he does win this coin flip, that's going to set him pretty far ahead in this case, because he's going to be 2-1 against Firebat.
Yeah.
Which is going to give him the edge here on that last game.
Yeah, whoever wins this game is going to have a pretty big edge in this series.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this hand right now from Firebat. It's actually, like, it's pretty good because the Blast Mages will come on. But Gnimsh has a really sticky board. I mean, Tinkertown Technician as a follow-up. Mirror Entity if he wants to get that Blast Mage at any point. That Snow Chugger is going to lock down that Annoyatron for at least one complete turn.
I really prefer Firebat's hand here. There is no way he doesn't get Blast Mage value, and Blast Mage's tempo swing is insane. No one got a Scientist, and both drew Mirror Entity, so both probably feel behind in that regard. But they don't know that.
Firebat's thinking of going face here. But I just,
I like this efficient trade.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, he thought about going face, and I'm thinking, what's the reason of that? Why think about going face in this position?
I think it's because he has the board and he has the initiative, and you wanna second mirror.
He thought about forcing the trade. Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to press his advantage because
this is the worst I've ever seen of Blast Mage.
Was there a way to get a worse Blast Mage than this?
No, there's none. Not a single way. I guess 2 could have hit face and 1 of each minion. Yeah, that's right. And now Firebat's going to force a trade on Gnimsh's part, but Gnimsh will be happy to oblige. I mean, I don't really...
I'm not sure about Firebat hitting face there, because now the 4-1 is going to kill your 5-4, and the Chugger can give
Blast
Gnimsh a
Mage
good
value.
Blast Mage. So I feel like you either had to kill one of the two, either to prevent value from the 4-1 or from the Blast Mage.
But here's what's interesting, though, is that by attacking face, the opponent has to make the trade regardless, and if the Spider Tank lives, your Blast Mage suddenly becomes even better with a 1 health Snow Checker on the board. Alright, well, we're going to be seeing a Mechanical Yeti from Gnimsh here, which contests the Blast Mage directly. It's just a 1-for-1 in this specific case. Spare Parts go in both players' hands, but Gnimsh has more minions in hand right now. And so
that is
Firebat's
the
gonna have to
best Blast Mage
compensate.
RNG possible in this case. Unless
Yeah,
you
go
wanted
for
to prevent the
face.
Yeti from trading through the 3-2, but I don't think...
I think it's pretty good because you've got that 5-5
Yep.
there.
So yeah, maybe Firebat would have wanted at least one hit to hit the Yeti here.
Yeah, but this is a pretty straightforward mirror entity. The
Yep.
thing is, Spider Tank is of such low value in this specific case.
Yeah.
By giving it away to the Yeti, you're just compounding the amount of value he got so far. And even though you're getting a copy of whatever it is he's gonna play, you're feeding him a Spider Tank, and that really can't feel good. But you can't afford pinging now because you're gonna be booming next turn instead of a ping.
Yeah, exactly. So this hurts, but there's no way around it.
And look at that Clockwork Gnome just denying Mirror Entity completely, shutting it down. Well, it seems like Gnimsh's, comfort with the mirror match is going to pay off.
And I don't know what 4-drops Firebat is running, if he's running the Shredders or the Mechanical Yetis, but those small differences can make a pretty big difference in the mirror.
Mirror Entity getting played on Gnimsh's side here, going to make that Dr. Boom a liability on Fire. Okay, you know what? You can't possibly Dr. Boom here.
Yeah, you
not
had to
with
Bugmaster,
this.
but this is such a weak turn compared to just playing Dr. Boom on a nearly empty board.
Yeah, and the worst part is because they get the Cogmaster and it has quote-unquote charge, they will get to trade into your Cogmaster and you won't get that that upside.
It's gonna take a lot here from Firebat.
Are
if he
you
wants to lose.
serious? Another Mirror Entity was gotten here from
the
Gnimsh, which is going to
deny.
again deny it.
Wow.
Alright, well, Firebat in a pretty tight spot. I mean, his card advantage is he's got
you've seen-
completely outvalued here card-wise.
Firebat played both his mirror entities, so I guess you get your Mad Scientist mirror entity here. You don't care.
Yeah,
Then
giving
you
him a
pick
2-2
Mirror
Mad
Entity.
Scientist is irrelevant.
Yeah, and then you play your Mech Warper to kill Firebat's Cogmaster. Yeah. I like this. Now, do you...
Yeah, you
Okay.
play Mirror Entity to
Mirror
deny
Entity.
the Dr. Boom
this.
that you were already trying to deny earlier.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, Firebat has to play the Annoyotron, as annoying as it might be. It is still a pretty decent play. I mean, both players have no more mirror entities in their deck, so unless either of them is playing some kind of counterspell shenanigan, everything should just stabilize here. Now we're looking at a board where Dr. Boom is suddenly going to be massive. It's going to have a huge impact on the board, because Gnimsh, he did manage to deny the Dr. Boom, but, Firebat's board is pretty okay. And if Dr. Boom comes there on this board, the amount of value it can get off the Boom bots could really just be massive. I don't know what's going to happen in this case.
And Firebat is at a health advantage, so he has a little bit more time than Gnimsh. He has the time to stabilize, and I feel like with all the spare parts that both players have, this might be whoever gets an Antonidas first, as long as Firebat's able to stabilize the board with this Dr. Boom.
Yeah, but that Paladin Shredder that Gnimsh top deck this turn is going to allow him to get a really effective trade into Dr. Boom, something he couldn't do just a turn prior, without wiping away all of his board. And right now, even though Dr. Boom's going to be effective, it's less effective than I thought it would be from the previous turn.
Yeah, and one annoying thing for Gnimsh here is that he doesn't have the coolant, so he can't just deny Dr. Boom for a whole turn,
Yeah, that's right.
and he would have liked that.
Well, let's see what Gnimsh gets here. Is it a Fireball? It is! That is an insane draw for Gnimsh.
This is excellent for Gnimsh.
The most insane draw, I think, in his entire deck. Maybe barring Archmage Antonidas. That might have been the only other draw that he would have liked.
Yeah. Antonidas Cloakfield would have been pretty good. Now, Gnimsh totally ignoring the bombs, saying, I have the board. I don't think there's any RNG on your bombs that can wreck me and just trigger them.
Yeah, okay. That's cocky, but let's see what the boombots from Firebat are saying here. Okay, well apparently he's slightly right. He's gonna be able to take out that Tinker Town with a second boombot, and if that kills another minion, the tides could turn. He has 8 mana and 2 4-drops.
Oh.
The board is equalizing here. I think that this is a pretty fair game. Both players on semi-equal footing. 2 fireballs gone from Gnimsh's deck. Firebat still has his. That Frostbolt, however.
Yeah, and Firebat lost his health advantage. In a race, Gnimsh wins.
Yeah, but the thing is, do you want to race in this case if you're Gnimsh? You could get outvalued. That's 8 damage on the board. I mean, sure, Firebat will make the trade. You know, that's a pretty obvious outcome. You know that he's going to be making the trades, but do you even put down the Frostbolt on his face? That's really the question I'm asking myself. I feel like freezing that Yeti might be better.
Yeah, I think you freeze and ping the Yeti. That way, you can ping it next turn.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Gnimsh is gambling in a way, but this is
nice. If he frozen the Yeti, I mean, the Cloakfield is going to guarantee that he can seal the game next turn, unless something like a Rusty Horn comes in the way.
Yeah.
For instance, you know.
But I mean, still, Gnimsh wins in 5 turns. This seems like a very long time, but Firebat's going to have to win in the next 5 turns while clearing the board or making sure he doesn't take damage from it.
I don't think this is that unlikely. I don't think it's that unlikely.
It's not that unlikely, but it's gonna slow Firebat down and.
Oh, it will. But he's dealing at least 4, 5, 6 a turn. He's in 3 turns. Gnimsh is dead. Firebat is dead in 5. Like I think Firebat got the edge here.
I would have preferred a Frostbolt on the Yeti with the ping to make sure you kill it over 2 turns, for sure.
Well, if he'd Frostbolted Yeti, he was pretty much guaranteed the win at this specific point.
Oh,
Firebat making an amazing call here. But
no,
I
he
think,
dies. Because he's gonna horn the Yeti, right?
Yeah, he's gonna taunt up, of course. The only drawback of this play from Firebat is the potential ability for Gnimsh to ping the Yeti and get 3 damage off of that Mech Warper and complementing it with just something as boring as a Blast Mage or...
He's taunting... No. He's dead.
Yeah, he's almost
Yeti.
dead. Well, reversing switch is killing the game. I can't believe Firebat did this. I thought it was... Wait, there's got to be a thought process here, but I can't figure out what it is. I cannot figure out what the thought process is. If a Frostwolf Grunt comes out, it's gonna be crazy. Iron Beak Cowl, that is nothing useful.
Wow, the end of this game, the last 2 turns of both players were so awkward because we saw everyone's hand, but...
What could they have been playing around at this point that they really thought they needed to make the plays they made? Because I feel like Gnimsh freezing the Yeti, that got him, you know, the edge that Firebat maybe was trying to get himself afterwards. So either that meant that, you know, Gnimsh had more damage in hand, in which case Firebat was already dead anyway. I mean, getting the board control from Gnimsh's perspective was already a thing. You know, with the Frostbolt on Yeti, that was pretty much guaranteed. Barring, you know, a Rusty Horn. That was pretty much the only way Firebat could have stuck around. I think there might have been a slight misplay. I'm curious to see what Firebat was thinking about at the very end, and why not taunt up the Yeti over the Shredder?
I guess the explanation is that he felt like whatever Gnimsh had would kill him anyways, even like from taunting a 4 HP or a 5 HP, but by killing the Shredder, if Gnimsh didn't have lethal, then Firebat himself could still have lethal the following turn.
Yeah, like if he reversing switched his own Shredder, killed the Mech Warper, and taunted up the Yeti, that was pretty much a certified way to stabilize. So Firebat's gonna move on to a Zoo deck, which has, you know, we saw Blood Knights, very useful card against something like an Anoyotron, which all mages run, pretty much. Every single Mech Mage runs that card, rightfully so. And now Gnimsh has to have a Frostbolt to answer this Knife Juggler because Firebat is going on the aggression.
Oh, this is gonna be huge. If this Knife Juggler lives, then Clockwork Gnome and Voidwalker come next turn, protecting
This
the Juggler.
is forcing a trade though on Firebat's part. He does have to trade that Knife Juggler away. He's gonna maximize the amount of damage he gets off of it, but I'm curious, do you just go face and force him to make the trade now that it's on 1 health after those amazing juggles? I mean, you see this is pretty much the best outcome for you. And between Abusive Sergeant and Hunted Creeper, you can probably guarantee a trade on anything before Blast Mage comes down.
Yeah, I think even if Gnimsh, I mean, playing a 3-drop and a 2-drop this turn is huge though. The tempo gain is insane.
Not that insane when you consider the current board state. Like, oh wow. This is going to be a really close game, but I feel like the Doomguard with an empty hand could like make it wildly in Firebat's favor. Just based off of that specific one. And look at this, a perfect trade. The Spider Tank will go down to the Clockwork Gnome. Multiple minions with 1 health, one of them will come back. Gnimsh forced in a position where Blast Mage does nothing. This is absolutely insane.
Yeah. And we're still waiting for Gnimsh's cards, but
I somehow am doing fine without it. I get I guess it's kind of fun to try to figure out what Gnimsh might be playing with. And look at this board right now. Firebat getting himself the Haunted Creeper. Did you want to tap here, knowing that your turn 5 could be just Implosion, but if you want to get out that Doomguard as soon as possible, then playing the Rusty Horn is obviously a bit better.
I don't exactly know why he wanted to play the Horn, because you don't really care about the card that you're gonna discard by playing the Doomguard, because you're never gonna get to Fatigue. But if your deck has a lot of high value cards like Doomguards, Implosion, and other important drops that you really want to avoid discarding, then I can understand.
Yeah, the only weakness to the board here is the Blast Mage play. Like, if something like a 1 or 2 drop mech comes down,
Yeah.
and Firebat gets Blast Mage, this is a pretty bad spot for him. But I'm looking at the board right now, and I feel like... Wow.
But
Is this a Scarred Crusader Blood Knight turn, and you just go full face with those 1/1s? Or is Blast Mage too dangerous and you have to trade into it? Oh, that Blast Mage could
Firebat,
be painful.
I like this because pinging the 3/1 seems like good value for Gnimsh, but he can't afford to just play 5 mana worth of stuff this turn.
If he has a Blast Mage, this is purely over. Alright, so he gets a Fireball ping and the Yeti that stays. Firebat though, he's going to capitalize on those 1/1's ability to deal damage, and Gnimsh has to use a 4/5 to deal 1 damage. That's a massive overkill.
Oh, this Argus is going to be quite nice.
Do you have to play it though? I mean, you're already you committed to a super aggressive game plan. You Doomguard tap and that replenishes your hand, so you can just keep going on the further turns. Your health total is so high, you can tap forever.
Yeah, okay. And I guess with the 1/1s you have,
You eventually lethal him with 1/1s. This is kind of sad, but it's gonna happen.
You kind of know that Gnimsh doesn't have the Blast Mage, because the last 2 turns would have been so good for it.
They would have been amazing, but in the case where Blast Mage was played, the Yeti might have lived. So I guess Firebat was, the Blood Knight might have lived. So either way, Firebat was sort of okay with it. But I'm looking at this right now, and the amount of damage Firebat can muster is pretty... Uh-oh, Nervy Neg top deck. Oh, Direwolf Alpha, that'll do it. Wait. That's
this
4,
is 7
5, 6... Yeah, he's 2 off lethal.
Blast Mage... worst scenario, he just plays a Direwolf and trades a Creeper into it, so doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah, he plays Direwolf and just gets rid of it right away. And then, replaces the 2 damage that would have dealt by the other one moving next to it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you kill the Tinkertown here?
You could play the board control game, but your Doomguard's dying to the Yeti. So... I guess it's fine. Ultimately, you're still left with 8 damage on board, 9 damage on board if he trades with the 5/4. Then he has to ping the 2/1. I still think Blast Mage couldn't turn this game around. And Firebat probably has many top decks here.
I guess it really depends what Firebat has in his deck. If he runs Dark Bombs, I guess going Alt Phase would have been pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially if he... But if he doesn't run Soul Fires but only Dark Bombs, then hoping for those only 2 cards, relying on them to have lethal, might have been...
Is this gonna be a fireball? Oh, this is actually a pretty awkward feeling fireball from him. She has to do it just to make sure that... the thing is he's overkilling, right, by 2. The Doomguard had only 4 health left, and overkilling when fireball is one of your crucial damage dealers never feels good. And Gnimsh is gonna be greedy here, gonna not play around the Dark Bomb. This is the greediest play I've seen in ages. And he finds lethal off the top with Abusive Sergeant, Direwolf Alpha. Trading with that 4-1, that 4 attack minion would have been probably safer, less greedy, but you leave the Direwolf alive. In which case, you know, you're gonna eventually die to minions repopulating the board.
And so Firebat manages to take it to game 5, and we're gonna see Zoo versus Zoo game 5 here.
Oh my! But you know what? Firebat has Blood Knights. He has an amazing edge in that matchup.
Does Gnimsh run
Annoyotron? Probably. He at least runs Annoyotrons in Zoo nowadays. It's one of the amazing 2-drops you can play and get really great value of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this is gonna be an interesting game, but I guess Firebat runs double Blood Knight?
Yeah, we saw double Blood Knight yesterday, and what's really interesting about that is that I haven't seen Zoo mirror matches in a long time. It's kind of weird to say, but Zoo in tournaments has been very largely underrepresented. Even on ladder, you see very little of it. Once you get past, you know, even just rank 10, like that's a really low rank. But just passing rank 10, you don't see Zoo anymore. It's all more consistent decks. So I'm actually quite surprised to see that happening.
Well, I mean, in December it was pretty popular since Xiso was number one on every single server.
Implosion, Zeus, Sea Giants, Undertaker. It seems like everything's dictated by the pro players just bringing decks to people's attention.
Yeah, but now that the Undertaker is almost not a thing anymore, Zoo is not as strong, and I feel like in a way that might be why both Gnimsh and Firebat brought Zoo, is because it's so unexpected.
Yeah, there's a surprise factor that it can capitalize on here. Alright, so does Firebat just not know what his opponent is playing?
No, he knows. We've casted Gnimsh yesterday.
Yeah,
so
no, I know. But... Oh, Undertaker in Gnimsh's hand. This is a throwback to the actual older list, so he's still running the Death Rattle synergy.
That's going to be interesting, because this Undertaker is definitely not going to be the carry of the game like we've seen in January in aggressive Undertaker games, but if it trades against a 2 or a 3 drop, that can bring some tempo for Gnimsh.
Yeah, and Haunted Creeper is probably one of the best. I think that says Haunted Creeper and Harvest Golems are probably the 2 death rattles that are core to Gnimsh's strategy here in general. Like in Zoo decks, that's pretty much what you see. But there's none of that, so for the time being, the Undertaker is just kind of a 1-2 with no effect.
So Gnimsh goes for the Juggler, basically sacrifices the Juggler, and while Firebat top decks the curve, this is super good for him.
Yeah, but if we look at Gnimsh's hand right now, this is not really a problem. The issue with the hand that Gnimsh has is that his Voidwalker dies to the Clockwork Gnome and the Voidwalker, so Firebat maintains the initiative, and that's not what Gnimsh wants at this point. This matchup can be very heavily about it getting that initiative.
And so Firebat's not forced to play the Blood Knight here, which
of
would
not
have been too bad, but I mean if he didn't
the
draw the
drawback
egg,
to it,
he didn't have
the
a choice.
drawback to making that play is obviously that you want to get value, if not of the opponent's Divine Shields, at least your own, right? You have Argent Squires, you have Scarred Crusader for the mid game to replenish the board with really big stuff. And when you look at the follow-up Defensive Argus on that egg, it's looking really, really tempting.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if you didn't draw the egg, skipping turn was not an option.
No, you would have had to play Blood Knight for tempo. That would have been terrible otherwise.
So here, do you kill the Undertaker?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Is Firebat just gonna go for the trade here, or is he gonna go for that? I think the 6/6 is so strong. It's gonna force a board wipe
you
either
can
way.
taunt it next turn. This is
Yeah,
so
you can
very
do
strong.
both. Yeah, you can kill everything with everything.
This doesn't seem too bad either, because you can you kill the Undertaker, then your opponent's forced to kill your egg. You get a 4/4, then next turn you could Blood Knight Argent Squire and time rewind the Argus after having traded, so
Yeah, I
that you
guess.
can Argus again later.
Yeah, you know what? That time rewinder is the key part of the. I probably did like Firebat's game plan here.
Unfortunately for him, this Argus from Gnimsh is so very strong. That was the one card that Gnimsh wanted to play this turn.
Well, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm thinking,
The light protects me.
wouldn't the Nerubian... I know that Flame Imp loses value on Nerubian by attacking the Nerubian, but you're also preventing giving him value from the Nerubian, if that makes sense. Because now the Nerubian got a kill on the Abusive Sergeant. I'm guessing Doomguard will compensate, or at least Gnimsh hoped that it would, but that 6/6 Blood Knight is changing the rules of the game a little bit. Well, the 2 Death Rattles are definitely impactful here. They're perfectly fitting the curve. You can even remove the 6/6 if you need. Those 1 health minions shouldn't be too much of an issue. So you could double trade into Blood Knight and just, you know, put down your Death Rattles. You're going to take maybe a bit of damage, but it should be fine.
Yeah, I like this because Gnimsh has card advantage at this point. Firebat only has 1 card. The Time Rewinder doesn't really count, and the Doomguard is such an advantage.
How much does the Nerubian cost? Because that's going to be the important part here. If it costs 2, then you can just Time Rewind, play it in Scarlet.
I'm pretty sure it's 3,
Okay.
but I'm not sure.
I think it's 2 from what I recall, but it's still such a long time ago. It's either going to be like a 3 and the Nerubian Egg, or 2. Alright, it is 3, you're right. Nax Ramos' 1 is 2. It's a different one. The one from the adventure mode. The loaded adventure mode.
Oh,
wow.
This is a curve from Gnimsh. This is perfect. The draw.
Who dares summon him?
Yeah. Vendi.
Wow. Dark Bomb? I guess.
I'm pretty sure Gnimsh is gonna take this. This is so hard to recover from Firebat.
Well, the Divine Shields are acting as pseudo Death Rattles, and he's gonna get, you know, another 4/4 from that Nerubian Egg, so it's not over yet by a long shot. It's just that right now Gnimsh, like the ability for Gnimsh to just draw 2 cards a turn and have the board initiative is gonna play such a huge role.
Yeah, he's gonna have the initiative, so Gnimsh is gonna dictate how this game goes and how the trades go, and he can just go face, put pressure, and he doesn't care about his life total because he wins the race.
Well, I mean, you could wait. I mean, I guess you could just play Direwolf between Doomguard and Harvest Golem, and between Harvest Golem and the Direwolf between those 2. You just get like extra damage. You just go full face and force him to trade.
If I were Gnimsh, I'd get the insanely good trades like sending the Golem into the Direwolf Alpha, and then everything else would go face to put pressure because Firebat's going to have to make trades, and it's going to be very hard for him to clear this board.
But a single defensive Argus with Divine Shields would really make this a bit tougher on Gnimsh. And like, you don't know that Firebat's not running Hellfires as an aggravating tech. We've seen that in zoos in the past. Gnimsh is calculating the damage output, and I think by attacking face, you're also forcing the opponent not to tap. That's a pretty big upside of going face.
Yeah. Well, you're making tapping
a liability. Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes very, very awkward for you to do so.
Yeah. Firebat's gonna have to tap next turn. There's no other way, because otherwise he won't be able to take the board back. But he has 1 shot.
So this is a pretty cool decision, trading the 1 Undertaker against the Nerubian. Uh-oh. If a Juggler comes off the top, can you afford tapping though? We have to calculate. I don't think you have the choice. You have to try to get it.
Yeah.
Alright. Wait. This is actually a pretty big bag, like a swing. He can kill the wolves.
Yeah.
He can kill Yeah, he can kill the 2 wolves and even develop the Argent Squire.
There's only 3 damage left on the board.
Yeah.
And if Firebat can manage to get a Defender of Argus or any taunt.
This is almost not aggressive enough.
Yeah, even a Voidwalker could buy him enough time.
Look at the damage Firebat has. Dark Iron Dwarf allows for an uptrade, an imp into a Harvest Golem. I mean, those minions are sticky, but
wow, Firebat could make it. He can get rid of the whole golem, then ignore the creepers because it's only 1 damage.
Yeah, he has 8 on board right now. I mean 10 on board. All right, so the trade was made with the creeper. I do like that. That way he's guaranteeing that the Harvest Golem that was played second is going to be safe. But this makes it making a 6/6 here, being able to trade up one of your imps into a Harvest Golem, trading into it. You can kill both Harvest Golems, in fact, if you want to.
I think Firebat has to
trade with both golems, or is that too much of an investment?
Secure lethal next turn. So he has to find. Yeah, okay. So he secures lethal for next turn, and hopes that Gnimsh cannot get 3 damage.
Yeah, Gnimsh is finding. Uh-oh.
Okay. Is the Voidwalker enough?
I mean, if you trade properly, yeah, you can play Voidwalker.
So now Firebat has to find 3 damage now, otherwise he's dead.
But he hasn't found a single Doomguard in his deck. He had no Dark Bomb either. So if he's playing either of these cards, he can actually afford tapping.
Yeah.
So Firebat might be able to get this game.
Yeah, Firebat has no choice but to tap here. This is his last turn, and he gets 2 draws. Needs to find 3 damage.
Iron Becal, Dark Bomb, Blood. Yeah. Oh, Doomguard for the win.
Firebat takes it. This is insane.
This reminds me of his BlizzCon performance where everybody in his circle of friends was saying, this guy's a god with Zoo. So that makes Firebat go 3-2 over Gnimsh. Really close Zoo game. I kind of forgot how exciting Zoo could be when it doesn't snowball out of control with a single Undertaker play. So that was a really close game and well played by both players.
I think that Gnimsh's call to go face was right. I totally agreed with him, but Firebat, he managed to take. I have no idea why, but
volatile. I mean, Zoo is a volatile matchup, and Divine Shields really make a huge difference in that matchup. It's really a big deal. The ability to trade without losing your stuff. It's kind of like a pseudo death rattle, as I mentioned earlier, and that gives Firebat a slight edge, even against a deck like Mech Mage. You know, getting the ability to deny Annoyatrons with Blood Knights and maybe trade your 3/1 Scarred Crusader against an opponent's 2/3 Snow Chugger, for instance. There can be really tiny tempo plays that make Divine Shields just snowball out of control.
This was very, very well played by both players. I mean, Zoo is kind of known for being a deck that seems very easy to play. Because it can be forgiving sometimes, but it's actually very hard to play Zoo to its full potential. To play Zoo optimally, you have to always consider what you could draw. If you could draw your Argus or your Direwolf, how do you place your minions on board? It's actually very hard, and even Zixo that got #1 on all servers with Zoo said that it's, according to him, one of the hardest decks to play
properly,
optimally.
I guess. Yeah. The thing is, like we saw Gnimsh go full face, and like you mentioned, we has to go full face. The lethal force Firebat to make the trades, but like there's such a thing as recklessness when you're playing Zoo. And I think a single trade with the Harvest Golem trading up with the Direwolf Alpha into that Nerubian would have made a big difference. Just removing that Nerubian from the board was, I think, a key point, and it really cost him very little. It cost him about 2 damage or 4 damage, which is about 2 life taps. So, and it guarantees that you're going to be safe from any swing, any whiplash from Firebat's part. So I feel like that was like a really, really key point of Gnimsh's maybe play. Just going full face, thinking he can secure lethal when there's so many taunts potential. You know, there's still 1 defender, a Voidwalker left in the deck that could have just, and you saw Blood Knight, so why not an Oyotron, right? That could have also come into factor.
Yeah, I agree, and I guess okay, and not even in the mirror, but in any matchup, it's really hard to go all in at the right point with Zoo.
Yeah.
So with that said, Firebat's going to go against Alish right after the break for the semifinals of the Mad Catz Battle of the Best.
No.